Hello and welcome back to Deck the Home. I'm Zach and today we're going to be launching a new series, Design Notes. In each episode of Design Notes, I will share with you tips, tricks, how-tos, ideas, and musings on all things related to design. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about reproductions. Are they accessible decor for the masses or just cheap, fast fashions that are going to end up in the landfill? So I wanted to talk about reproductions today because I feel like this has been a really hot topic on social media with some of the reels and things that I was seeing, and in response to the launch of Target and other retailers' fall collections. So before we jump in, I think we first need to understand what a reproduction is. Reproductions in home decor and the larger design art space have existed for decades, if not centuries at this point. Think about, your dining room maybe you have Chippendale style chairs in there. Those are reproductions more than likely of a 1700 style invented by Thomas Chippendale. Blue and white chinoiserie, a lot of those pieces are reproductions of vases originally from China. You see reproductions all the time in artwork, whether it be through prints or copies of famous pieces of artwork that are being sold. So reproductions have a place in design. Reproductions exist for several reasons. One of those is to make fashionable items readily available to the masses. Oftentimes, pieces that they're modeled after are very rare. They may be very expensive. And so having those pieces that are more affordable helps people have those items in their home because they're beautiful and everybody wants them. So why are people upset about a few decor pieces from Target? And again, this got me thinking after I saw, I believe it was a reel on Instagram where a person was very taken back. And for you that haven't maybe seen it, Target released their fall collection, and actually was the Hearth and Home line from Joanna Gaines specifically. And it had just floral motif, paintings, and pictures in the line. And the Instagram reel was like, wow, you could really buy this at a thrift store. So the last 4 years in design have been transformative. The biggest thing that has come out of the last 4 years is a focus on creating spaces that are very personal to us. 2020 came, we started spending a lot more time at home and really wanted that space that we were occupying to feel like us. And so people started being more intentional about how they approached their home decor and their home design to really tell a story and capture who they are as a person. Why then would you be upset? Well, again, going back to this idea that, home became very personal and people started curating spaces more. And especially during the pandemic, a lot of retailers were maybe closed. There definitely was in the furniture industry this backlog that took several years for people to come out of. So people were turning to vintage pieces that already existed. They didn't have to order them. They didn't have to wait on them. They could usually pick them up from a shop the same day and have something in their homes that they could start decorating with. So that has given rise again to those vintage pieces that we so love. So seeing this new piece from Target appear, it feels a little bit inauthentic, fake, to say the words. You've probably seen them. I watch them all the time. I love watching them. People posting their reels of going on vintage hauls, people going to thrift stores and finding things that really speak to them. And I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. I love me an antique store. If I can work an antique store into an errand, the day just got a lot better. The antique store component of it, there's this thrill of the hunt. You don't know necessarily what you're looking for, but you have an idea and you go in and voila, something magical's there and you get to bring it home and then you get to style it. And that just feels really good to a lot of people. It feels good to me. And it provokes conversation. It creates connection between us, and we're all looking for connection at the end of the day. So I think that's, one of the reasons that vintage and antiques, and people are really loving this hunt and this intentionality behind design. So I think people are upset with Target and other retailers because they're taking this fun activity, this thoughtfulness, this curated look, and they're turning it into something for the masses. And I think that speaks to where we are as a culture. We are still very much a culture of instant gratification. We love to be able to get online. We love to find something super specific. We love to know the dimensions of it exactly. We love to track it from the time we order it to the time it arrives at our front door. Like, we love it. That's why, like, everybody's ordering Christmas presents off Amazon nowadays. The other thing, though, is, these pieces are clearly being driven by demand. The one piece that I think got the most attention was that oval floral piece. And that appeals to people, that aesthetic, and there's clearly a demand for it. I mean, it's sold out online. So that says something about people really embracing this idea of coziness, but also to, like I said before, that instant gratification that people are looking for. And let's not kid ourselves either. There are places in the country where you're just not blessed with fabulous antique stores or vintage stores or even good thrift stores. Like, I've traveled, in my travels, I mean, I will say I'm very fortunate locally here to have lots of great places to go source things from and to find things and dip into. That's sometimes not the case for some communities, depending on where you are in the country. Having a retailer like Target have something that is inspired or a reproduction, again, goes back to that idea of giving access to the masses. So I do think, though, that people are really upset because now their style, their unique trend is sort of being encroached upon by a big box retailer. The other thing that I'll say, though, to that is some people don't have that desire or that trained eye to want to go into an antique store. I don't fault you. I don't fault you at all. I think that's fine. So recognizing that, there's that group of people. There's also the group of people that, unfortunately, don't have an eye. They don't see the potential in sort of the diamond and the rough, if you will. So there might be a beautiful painting that's very similar down the street at their local Goodwill, but all the other stuff in the store, and let's face it, 99% of it is junk. That 99% of junk is distracting to them, and they can't see how that item or how that painting or whatever it is would fit into their life and how they would want to buy it. So there's tons of people out there that love to shop from vignettes, love to shop from the magazine pictures. They're out there, and I think Target is appealing to that demographic, the demographic who wants these beautiful antique things but doesn't necessarily know how to source them. But I do think, though, that you can find pieces for your home that you do love and that you can mix in with some of that quicker things that you can pick up from Home Goods or Target or any other store out there. So I want to share some tips for finding those things that you truly love and truly speak to you, because I think that's what we're all trying to accomplish at the end of the day. First is understand your style. That seems like a really big, daunting task. And if you don't understand your style, going to a antique store, thrift market, any type of environment like that, it's going to be really difficult for you to sort of sift through all of the options, because there are going to be tons of options and tons of different styles competing. So understanding your style is really important. Hopefully going to do a whole video series on that in the future because it's a huge topic. But to start off, I would say look at your current space. What do you have in here? What do you love? What appeals to you? Do you want more of that? The other thing is, if that's not the case for you, look at the pictures and the designers that you constantly find yourself attracted to. And not just, ooh, I like the chair in this picture, but when the whole room feels nice to you, like what are those rooms that you love? And what about those rooms do you love? Is it the artwork? Is it the lighting? Is it the relationship with the furniture? Is it the patterns? Is it the colors? Like, start really questioning why you love things. And I think slowly over time, you will start to develop that style and you'll start to realize, okay, this is me, this is not me. On that note, I said buy the things that you love, but really that's my second tip. Buy the things that you love. If you love something, and truly, truly love something, you will find a place for it wherever you move in your journeys and throughout your life. The thing with this is that if you love something, again, it kind of goes back to developing that style, it will all go together at the end of the day. It may take some time for you to collect those things, especially if you're only sourcing them through, thrifting or vintage or however. It's gonna take some time, but don't get discouraged. Hold on to that thing, knowing that you love it and knowing that, if you're working on a gallery wall, you might need to find some other things that you love to be able to fill that space. How do you know if you love something though, Zach? Shop with a friend. My problem is I see opportunity in everything almost. Like I can go crazy in a store sometimes. And so having those people who are close to you that can temper you back a little bit are really helpful. And I'm thankful for that, because otherwise I'd probably have a concrete box sitting on my front porch or in my living room. Thankfully my friend talked me out of that last time we were at a vintage market. And then finally, this one may seem obvious, but envision how you want to use something. What are you going to use it for? Do you have a space for it in mind? Do you have a vignette in your head that you're like, ooh, this would look good there? Because if you don't, you might consider, moving away from it. But think about, does this have a place in my home? How would I use it? I also love things too that you can envision using multiple ways. Things like trays, they look great on a coffee table. Depending on the size, you can maybe put some candles on it. You could use it in the bathroom to kind of corral items on your vanity. So things that have multiple purposes that you could use over a long period of time in different ways, I think is really fun as well. So just envision how you would use those items. Back to our first question. Reproductions, are they accessible decor that everyone can have access to, or are they cheap, fast fashion? I think that really depends on the person and what you're trying to accomplish. Be really true to yourself and ask yourself those really hard questions when you're shopping for stuff, and I think you'll get the answers. Not all reproductions are created the same, and that's okay. But just being honest with yourself is a really good tip. And truthfully, okay, if we're talking about the round oval artwork at Target, I probably would leave it on the shelf. Let's just be real. It's $30. You can do better. Thanks for tuning into today's episode of Design Notes. I hope you enjoyed this topic. If you did, leave me a comment below or click the like button. And don't forget to subscribe for more great content. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.